We threw a barbecue for my husband for his PhD graduation, and I really had a tight budget, so I had to home make a lot of these items. Most of the stuff I got from Costco, and then the rest I made from scratch. So here's how I made it. First, I made the corn, which I have this posted as a short on my YouTube channel, so you can always go back for specifics. But essentially, I just get 4 packs, or basically 4 pounds of frozen corn, about a cup or so of Greek yogurt, Kohita, I don't know how to say it. I don't know. Anyway, I get that cheese and I pour the whole bag on top. I think it's about 8 ounces. And then from there, I added a whole bunch of cilantro, like a literal bunch of cilantro. I just chopped it as fine as I could. I was really rushed, but you could always do it a little more fine than I did here. Then I juiced 3 limes into this, and then I added all my spices, which was salt, pepper. I usually do garlic powder and onion powder, but I was out, but this time was salt, pepper, smoked paprika, and that's it. But it really did need the garlic powder and onion powder. And then I added green onions. I just probably added about 3. I don't use any of the white parts, just the tops, and then stirred it up, and that was the corn salad. You really want to serve this cold. Next, I made the potato salad from scratch, and it was so delicious. I loved it. So I just got this bag of potatoes from Costco. This is what I usually buy for my family because I make it with the skins on, but I realized most people wouldn't like that. So anyway, I messed up. I should have just got the large Yukon Gold potatoes so that I could peel them at the beginning. But anyway, I threw this in a pot with cold water and salt, and then, I took off all the nasty eyes and stuff. Threw it in a pot with cold water, boiled it, and then let it come to a boil. When it came out, I actually peeled all the potatoes, so that's why I said I would prefer to buy the big ones. I also cooked 6 hard-boiled eggs, cut up cilantro, and I think green onions. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I put green onions here. Then I did the sauce in a separate bowl, which I definitely recommend. If you do it on the potato salad, it can get pretty mushy. So I eyeballed it here. You could just taste as you go, but I just added maybe a cup or 2 of mayonnaise, and then mustard, salt, pepper. I would have done garlic powder and onion powder, but I was out. And also smoked paprika. That's why it's red. So once I stir that together and like it, I can add it. Also, you can add different things like vinegar, relish. I just wanted to keep it pretty simple though. So I added the sauce here, and then I'm stirring it around. A lot of people, I don't know, it just depends. Some people like really chunky potato salad, which is me, and some like creamy. So I kind of did both. But yeah, so I just took a masher and kind of made it chunky and creamy. So there were chunks, but it was still creamy. So it was good in my opinion. So I just did this a little bit, but I don't recommend adding the sauce and then doing this, or it will for sure be creamy the more and more you mix it. So I tasted it from here and then added more spices or sauce as I thought, till I liked it. So yeah, basically you want to make sure this is served cold, obviously because it has the mayo, but it definitely you want it to be served cold. And there's so many different things that you can add to it. This is so basic. I'm telling you, I use a basic recipe because I had people coming that I didn't know what their preference was. So you can always add different things. Olives are good here. Relish, pickles, super good. It's so delicious. I love this with hamburgers. No barbecue is complete without potato salad. So I also made the cake, and I made each individual element that went with the cake. So here's how we make the delicious strawberry filling. It's super simple. I just took a bag of frozen strawberries, about a cup of water. That was way too much, so do about a half a lime, and then a cup of sugar. So you just kind of boil this down, cook it down until the strawberries start to soften, and then you can mash it. You could use a fork, a potato masher. This took about 10 minutes for me to cook down. Because I added too much water, I needed to thicken it with some cornstarch. So you take liquid out of the strawberries, add it to a separate bowl, then add your cornstarch. Mix that around, add that back into the strawberries. And just keep simmering on low until it's thick enough for your liking. You could also taste at this point and see if you want more sugar, but you don't really need that much because there's so much sugar in the cake. Anyway, it should be about this consistency. I put it in a bowl in the fridge. The next element I made was chocolate simple syrup, which I've never used before, but I definitely recommend. It makes your cake so moist. So basically you take 1-to-1 ratio, 1 cup sugar, 1 cup water, and then I added maybe 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder, unsweetened cocoa powder. You just cook that down for about 5 minutes, low simmer, just till it's combined. And then when you're making the cake, I'll show you later where I added this. It makes it so moist. So I will definitely be using this for every single cake that I make. Of course, you can make different flavors. You can leave out the chocolate and put vanilla. You could put almond extract, but it made the cake so moist and as if it was from the bakery. So I will never not do this. It's so good. And actually, I had no idea about it until I was researching different videos to make this cake for my husband because I have never made such a large cake before. Then I made the frosting. Whipped chocolate ganache. I will never not make this for my chocolate cakes. This was the best frosting of my life. Basically, you take whatever chocolate chips you want. Semi-sweet are really good for this. You need 1 cup of chocolate per 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. And here I did 3 cups, but I should have done 6. It was not enough frosting. I ended up scrambling at the end and not having enough to cover the cake, but whatever, it worked out. Anyway, so you're going to put it in a bowl. And you could also just put the cream and the chocolate in the bowl in the microwave, but I don't own a microwave, so I did it on the stove. I put 3 cups of chocolate in a bowl, and then I heated 3 cups of heavy cream in a pan. You just want it to come to a little simmer on the edges. You don't want it to scorch, so you definitely want to be there to watch it. But just let it come to a simmer. It came quick. Then add it on top of the chocolate in a bowl and put a plate on top of that and just leave it for about 3 to 5 minutes. Doesn't matter. You can definitely go doom scroll on your phone for this time. Then you're going to just stir it. I use a whisk and then you just kind of stir until it comes together. It will eventually thicken up. Then you're left with beautiful ganache. So from here, you could actually use this if you wanted to do a drip cake. You can just set this aside and put it in a bottle so that you could drip on your cake. But I need it to be thickened. So you're going to cover it with plastic wrap. You want to make sure every single piece of the chocolate is covered. This will need to sit in the fridge for at least 8 hours. So this is definitely a step you want to make way ahead of the time that you need to ice your cake. But trust me, it's so good. It's really easy to come together and it's so delicious. So here's how it looks after 8 hours. I just left it in the fridge. It's kind of this texture. From here, you'll want to whip it. So I put it in a separate bowl. You could use a stand mixer, a hand mixer. I opted for my hand mixer and I somehow lost the other attachments. I can't think of the name right now. So I just used what I could find because I was kind of, losing time here. So you just whip it and whip it and whip it. And I probably could have kept whipping it a little bit more, but as it was super good. Now it's time to assemble the cake. I got this cake board from Walmart along with a cake box, and I baked these cake layers earlier. So each layer is a full recipe of my chocolate cake, which will be on my channel. It's the best chocolate cake ever. So this was literally a giant cake. I cooked it on a half-shaped pan and I wrapped it while it was still warm. That's a trick I learned this time. I never knew that before. And on the bottom of the cake board, I added some ganache so the cake wouldn't move around. And you can see it kind of looked a little bit wobbly because my oven is kind of interesting. So anyway, it just worked out. Here is where I added that chocolate simple syrup that I made, and this is the first time I've ever used it. I will definitely use this all the time, but because I made it that day and served it that day, it was a little too moist. But when I ate it the next day, it was like the best cake I've ever had. better than any bakery. So I would say if you're making it the day of, you do not need this. But if it's for the next day, definitely. Then from here, I tried to make like a makeshift piping bag, but it didn't work because of the type of bag I had. So basically, you just need to add like a rim of the frosting on the outside so that the strawberry filling doesn't squish out. So that's kind of what I did here. Then I added the strawberry filling, and to make up for the wobbly cake, I put a lot of the filling where it was like lower. So yeah, I just added all of that strawberry filling. Then I added the top layer. Then I filled in all the gaps on this side with more ganache. You don't want any gaps between the two layers. So I definitely did not make enough frosting. But anyway, I frosted it with what I had. And then I put sprinkles on the side. I'm not like a cake decorator, okay? But anyway, I made his name with chocolate. I just melted it down, used a really fine piping tip that my husband ran to the store right before to buy me. Then I added sprinkles to that and then put it in the freezer, put it on top of the cake. I also added the flowers and the leis that he got from his graduation. My friend Crystal did the decorations. My in-laws brought a bunch of snacks and drinks. It was wonderful. Overall, it was really wonderful. I really spaced it out between 3 days so it wasn't overwhelming. It was a pretty calm day of, which is not the norm for me. Usually I do things last minute, but it was really wonderful. Nobody really ate the beans, so I probably won't serve those next time. Otherwise, everything else was good, and it was such an enjoyable time. We were so proud of my husband, and it was great to have all the people that he loves there. Of course, there were a lot of people who couldn't show up because it was in the middle of the work week, and we live in a city where it takes an hour to get anywhere. So a lot of his people couldn't show up, but the ones who did, we were really thankful for. He really enjoyed his time and felt really cherished.